Peace, family. My name is Vicki Dillard for African Diaspora News Channel. Thank you so much for tuning in, family. I'm sure some of you all remember my coverage I did some months back on Armenian migrants who come to the United States of America and get up to $100,000 in tax write-off. How many of y'all remember that? It caused outrage in the backlash. And of course, I came to discover that information after I was covering the fact that what's his name? I'm tripping right now. Ukrainian migrants. Zelensky and them people, I was thinking of Zelensky's name, but Ukrainian migrants that was coming to the United States, remember they were getting SSI money and all kinds of other benefits and checks and jobs and stuff that we don't get. Now, these Nazi Ukrainians, some of them are actual, literal, no exaggeration, Nazi Ukrainians that are fighting a proxy war against Russia on behalf of the United States of America and her Western allies. They get to come to the United States and get money out of Social Security that they don't even pay into. How in the world does that happen? When the process of that is when I learned about this, because one of our Black tax writers blew the whistle and snitched on. Talk black to me, somebody. Well, family, the State Department just recently did a press conference on a peace treaty between Azerbaijan and Armenia. Watch this clip.
The declaration of peace between Armenia and Azerbaijan has reaffirmed that President Trump is indeed the president of peace. Last week, he hosted the leaders of Armenia and Azerbaijan at the White House, where they signed a historic joint declaration for peace after decades of bitter conflict and too many lives lost, a landmark achievement for international diplomacy and an end to violence that only President Trump could deliver. The two leaders also signed bilateral economic agreements with the United States, unlocking the great potential of the South Caucasus region in trade, transit, energy, infrastructure, and technology, and creating new opportunities for the American people and American businesses. This achievement follows negotiated peace arrangements between Cambodia and Thailand, Israel and Iran, Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo, India and Pakistan, Egypt and Ethiopia, and Serbia and Kosovo, in addition to the remarkable achievement of the Abraham Accords. President Trump continues to prove that nations across the globe can move beyond long-standing conflicts of the past toward a shared future of peace, prosperity, and success.
Now, I know y'all like, Vicki, what are we as FBAs and even those of our Black family around the world talking about Azerbaijan and Armenia for? Here's why. Because Donald Trump, as you can see in this piece, as of the time of this airing, just signed 24 hours ago from the time of this airing. I'm reading from Reuters. Azerbaijan and Armenia published text of U.S. brokered peace deal. You see Trump sitting here in the middle, you know, U.S. President Trump, Azerbaijan's president sitting here, Mr. Aliyev, and Armenian's Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan posed with their documents during a trilateral signing event at the White House. Watch this now. Listen to a little bit of this. Armenia and Azerbaijan published a text of a U.S. brokered peace agreement on Monday, pledging to respect each other's territorial integrity and formally put an end to nearly 4 decades of conflict. The deal was struck in Washington last Friday when Azerbaijan's president Ilham Aliyev. Now, your name is pronounced based on Mississippi from Vicki Dillard, so everybody's going to agree that this is all right. I'm the original Black woman, so it's right. Lighten up. Oh, family, please. Okay, that's his name today. That's how you're going to pronounce it, at least. We're going to pronounce it. It says the Armenian president, Azerbaijan president, and then Armenian prime minister, rather, Nikol Pashinyan, met with U.S. President Donald Trump at the White House. I just mentioned that. The text agreement, which was initialed by the country's foreign minister, says that Yerevan and Baku will relinquish all claims to each other's territory, refrain from using force against one another, and pledge to respect international law. It says that this agreement is a solid foundation for establishing reliable and lasting peace, the result of an agreement between Armenia and Azerbaijan that reflects the balanced interests of the two countries. Armenia and Azerbaijan, neighbors in the South Caucasus region, have been locked into conflict since the late 1980s. It talks about the mountainous region that this entails and so forth and so on, with the southern end of Karabakh mountain range within Azerbaijan. Baku took back full control of the region in 2023, prompting almost all of the territory's 100,000 ethnic Armenians to flee to Armenia. The European Union, NATO member Turkey, and Russia have welcomed the accord, although Moscow, a traditional broker and ally of Armenia, was left out and warned against foreign meddling. Now, this is crazy. Now, y'all probably saying, well, what does this got to do with us? This is what it's got to do with us. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? What it's got to do with us is my breakdown that I did some months ago, that the fact that the Armenians in the United States was getting $100,000 in literal reparations right off with the IRS. Well, the latest information I pulled up says this. It says, here's an overview, and you can even pull this up yourself for online news, among others. You can even pull this up on AI, where it says here's an overview of potential tax write-offs for individuals and businesses with ties to Armenia, focusing on U.S. tax implications as contributions directly to foreign entities generally aren't deductible in the U.S. For individuals, U.S. citizens and residents, foreign earned income exclusion, that's known as FEIE. If you live and work in Armenia and meet either the bona fide residence or physical presence test, you can exclude a significant portion of foreign earned income for U.S. taxes up to $126,500 in 2024. It talks about how foreign tax credit, it goes on to talk about if you pay income taxes to the Armenian government, you can claim a dollar for dollar credit against your U.S. tax liability on the same income. This helps prevent double taxation, especially as the U.S. does not have a modern bilateral tax treaty with Armenia. It talks about the charitable contributions, all the different things that you can get written off. It talks about business U.S. based with Armenian operations and investment. And it tells you about consulting and tax preparation persons and all these other kind of folks, right? But when you go down further, I want to specifically talk about the reparations. Yes, reparations that the IRS pays Armenian migrants, allows them to write off rather. Now, I'm happy to say that when you first pull it up, one of the first things that pops up is IRS tax preparer leaks Turk Armenian migrants 100,000 reparations from Vicki Dillard. That's one of your first sources, yes? But when you actually go to the IRS website, you will see that we have tax treaty. Yes, Armenian tax treaty, where they are getting six figures, can get up to six figures write-off based on a tax treaty that we have with Armenian for them to get reparations for a fight that they had over there. Now, Foundation of Black Americans, we're told we're not giving one red cent for building, creating America. But these foreigners get to come over here, and the IRS, the U.S. government IRS, gives them reparations in the form of tax write-offs. Now, if we continue to appeal to Congress for our reparations, if we use the judicial system for our reparations, and that continues to take time, right? There's something that can be done immediately almost if Trump and the powers that be just simply make a phone call and file the necessary paperwork and demands with the IRS to say, give Foundation of Black Americans $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 in tax write-off. How many of y'all know that means that's a check that can come from the IRS for our reparations? I'm still beating that drum. And I'm saying we need to be making these requests and demands of Trump right now. My name is Vicki Dillard, beloved. Be sure to check out my website at VickiPlanet.com for more information about what I do and what I have going on. A lot of yummy products like my Luxury Goddess magazine that's coming out, as well as my special schools. You don't want to miss information about that and how you can tap in so that you're able to get breakthroughs in your own life. Go to VickiPlanet.com. I can't wait.